the Arena US now, enter the Arena Uncut. This will be on the previous Uncut channel and Razor Stein Live. We today will be discussing John Bones Jones breaking his silence to Ariel Helwani. And we're going through so many articles. We got Sherdog, the trouble with John Jones breaking his silence. Then we have SB Nation. John Jones claims he was not a cokehead. I was addicted to marijuana. And Fox News. John Jones, I totally had a drug problem. On the line from South Korea, it is the best MMA analyst on YouTube today, Tommy Razorstein, who watched the entire interview with myself, and he is uncut to talk about what everyone's talking about right now. Tommy Razorstein.
What's up, Don? How you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm doing great. I mean, I gave you headline after headline. People are watching this right now. Which do you want to start off talking about the interview? Is it real? Is it fake? Is he a cokehead? Is he just marijuana? Did he mean to do the accident? What? I don't know. You tell me.
All right. You know what the crazy thing is? This was the first time I actually heard some realness come out of John Jones. I know that's coming from me too. Like, I am ready to attack John Jones any way I can, because like I supported him and then he let me down. I felt like, this was the person who I believed in, and he let me down and became this. But you know what?
Talk a little louder in the mic.
This is the first time that I think that John Jones is being real. As crazy as it is, I think he's being real for the first time. At the end of the interview, in the beginning of the interview, no. But at the end of the interview, you start hearing him open up a little bit and not be so one-line bullshit, things that you're supposed to say, oh yeah, well, I really learned a lot from my lesson, and I'm a changed person. I really have grown as a person. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Just tell us who you are. And at the end, it looked like Ariel Helwani was able to get Jones to open up a little bit. Tell like who he is as a person. And like, you know what? I kind of like that. I don't say many things that I like about John Jones, but you know what? At the very end of the story, I kind of like that a little bit.
Well, let's start getting into some main points. One of the main points people are going to talk about with this interview, Tommy Razorstein, is I am addicted to marijuana. I'm not a cokehead. That's what John Jones said. What was your opinion on that statement? Do you believe John Jones only did cocaine one time?
Well, you can't get physically addicted to marijuana. So I don't know what he's really talking about. I mean, I know some people who say, oh, I need pot, to get by, whatever. But it's not like, it's heroin. It's still only marijuana. And you know what it was? You know what it seemed like, Don? It seemed like he was trying to make a plea bargain to the audience, as if he's saying like, oh, it wasn't coke. It wasn't coke. It was, I'll admit, it was marijuana, and I was drinking, which, he can plea bargain it down to like, I'm an average person, I'm not a cokehead though. But you know what? You're going to tell me you only had coke once, and it so happened to be the day before the State Athletic Commission, tested you. Okay. All right. You only did it once in your life, and it just so happened to be the day before they test you. And cocaine only stays in your system like 2 or 3 days, 72 hours or something like that. It just so happened to be that you got tested and you got caught in coke in your system. Okay, and you only did it one time in your life, which I think he's fucking lying. Okay. And like he won't accept being known as a cokehead. He doesn't like that at all. But you know what? He should admit to it and be like, yeah, I've done coke, and but his sponsors will absolutely drop him. Someone must know, all sponsors, anyone who might take him back won't let him. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think that Jones is going to say, oh, I definitely have done coke and used coke multiple times. He won't admit to that. He'll admit to the marijuana and he'll admit to the alcohol, but that's it. And then, but at the end, he started to open up.
Well, I wanted to go back to that real quick before we go to the end, and we got some main points we want to hit too.
All right,
Tommy Richstein, you're absolutely right, man. That is the one thing he is not going to own up to. And in this article in Sure Dog, I agree with you. John Jones did cocaine more than one time. Let's be serious here. We're not fucking idiots.
I know.
But just like you said, Razorstein, you're actually taking his side a little bit. You're saying that maybe if he admits that he owns up to that, he might lose it all. So if he just says, I did marijuana and I drank, then, you know, he can still, you know, try to make himself to be an average guy. But you're also saying that that's a double-edged sword. By not owning up to it, people are going to say that part you lied about, you're being fake.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. 100%.
And in this article, and I want to get your opinion real quick, it says when he tells Helwani he's not a coke guy, it just sounds ridiculous. This is coming from Sure Dog. He owns up to being a pothead because, you know, marijuana use is something a lot of people will defend. This is exactly what you're saying. That's why you're the best MMA analyst on YouTube today. But cocaine, no. You can step in whenever you want, Tommy. John's
no,
yes.
I love that you're saying exactly what I just said. I didn't even read this.
Jones Jones would rather chalk it up to one-time mistake. That's what you're saying, Razorstein. One-time mistake. That is ridiculous. You're saying that then own the idea that he may have dabbled in the designer drug before. You get the feeling that there are lies that Jones will take to the grave no matter what, even if the truth would set him free. Holding on to the lie is the fight he's determined to win. And you're saying that, can you go a little bit more in depth about this cocaine thing? Is this helping him or is not? I'm a little bit confused. You're saying on one end that if he says he did it, he can lose it all. On the other end, if he owns up to it, then he's free.
I think you should own up to it. You know what? And just come out of the closet. You know what I mean? I'm a cokehead. I feel like going and dragging him out of the closet and being like, get out of the closet. You're a cokehead. Knock it off, Jones. And like you can see when he starts being fake, and you can see when he has this fake image, and he just starts saying this, you know, the same bullshit. And you saw him like stand there in front of all those kids, you know, saying the same bullshit. And all those kids have this look on his face, like, yeah, we know you, and we know that you're fake, and we know you're a liar. The kids are just looking at him like, dude, come on, who are you kidding? We're 5 years old and we don't believe you.
Wow, that's how you felt in the
beginning. Told us that Santa was real and we would have believed you.
That part
that you're not on coke, you liar.
Now let's go into this. Okay, we did the cocaine thing. Okay, let's go to UFC 151. This is something that we talked about on a consistent basis. That we did get indications that the UFC may have known allegedly. We don't want to just say they did, but I think me and you basically know that they probably did. Vitor Belfort may have been on performance enhancement drugs, and they would fight at UFC 152. They blamed John Jones for the cancellation of UFC 151. He said that he shouldn't have been blamed for that. Do you think now, since this is years ago and we're looking 2020 hindsight, do you think John Jones was responsible for that? The UFC, do you think that he has is a legitimate gripe about that you could take his side on that one now?
I don't know. I mean, Jones is the best in the world and he's afraid of that shit. Come on, man. I'm not hearing that. I'm not taking that shit. And also, he complained about Chael Sonnen. He's like, I'm not going to fight Chael Sonnen on 8 days' notice. Oh, come on, dude. You destroyed him, you know, no matter what. Come on, Jones. You're supposed to be the best pound for pound in the world. Fight him. Don't be a pussy about it. Fight him. Chael manned up. He wanted to do it. That's how I feel, Don.
Okay. Now, okay. So we did 1, 2. The partying with the best of them. He was drinking and the marijuana. Let's just say right now he don't want to admit to the cocaine. You believe the cocaine was involved in it, but he's beating everybody. He's beating everybody. He gets these DUI, get in a car accident in 2012. And what was your whole thing about that? The 3-car pile up, running from the scene, going back to the scene. He's saying that it really didn't happen that way. Did you feel that, he was admitting the truth there, or he was still being rehearsed and fake?
It was a little rehearsed. It was a little sketchy, but I don't know. I wasn't there, so I can't say. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't there. He could be lying. He could not be lying. I don't know. But there's some times where I'm like, oh, come on, Jones. You want me to expect you to believe that one?
Uh-huh.
Now, with the 3-car pileup, I don't know. I mean, it could have happened that way. You know what I mean? If he's drunk and he's texting on his phone like an idiot at a light and he doesn't realize it and just guns it because he sees green and doesn't realize and he's in the wrong lane and smashes into somebody, and then he sees tunnel vision because he's still drunk and fucked up and says, I don't want to get in trouble. At this point, he's like, oh, I just had tunnel vision. No. Just admit, I didn't want to get in trouble because I'm a selfish asshole. I'm a selfish asshole. I only think of myself, and I want to run away and not think about things. And then he said, oh, well, as soon as I got back home and everything, I contacted my lawyers. I wasn't on the run or anything like that. I don't know about that one, Jones. There's a lot of questionable things that happened that day. But you know what? At the end of the day, all I cared about was this. If you go back and you be real instead of being fake again. At the end of the interview, he started to sound a little bit, real. But there was these times it was strange too. I mean, if you think about Jones having like these mental disorders or something, there was times where he had to say, and congratulate himself, and he had to like pat himself on the back. He had to give himself a compliment. He had to put down, his opponents. He had to say how good he was all the time, as if like. He needed that. Like, he needed a mothering figure to say, oh, you're good, Jones. And he didn't have it, so he had to say it himself out loud in front of Ariel Helwani. It's ridiculous that he has to do that, but he feels obligated. He feels like he has to build up his confidence. He has a complex like that, dude. And, like, it's real obvious. And at the very end, you could see, he's starting to have this conflict of, like, you know what? I have this mental issue where I have to constantly praise myself, and I'm starting to be real. I'm starting to open up, and there's going to be a lot of change in John Jones.
Now, Jones revealed that he holds a grudge against the Nevada State Athletic Commission. This is coming from SB Nation. Reason behind that is a pre-fight drug test that the Nevada Athletic Commission ordered prior to his fight against DC at UFC 182. The test results show cocaine metabolites were found in his blood of the then UFC champion. The test results became public right after the event. Jones is pissed off. He says, how in the world that he did cocaine one time and the Nevada State Athletic Commission tested him and revealed the results? He said that's bullshit and he wants to sue. I think he's barking up the wrong tree, and I think he might need to drop this thing. Is he trying to make himself look that good by saying, oh, I will fight them, I only did it one time? Or is he making himself look bad by keep bringing it up? Should he just drop the whole situation?
I think you should drop the whole situation. His gripe is, they caught me doing coke, and I'm mad because they weren't supposed to test me for doing coke. Oh, come on, dude. You're pissed that they caught you doing coke, and you got, viewed as a cokehead because you got caught.
It just makes no sense. Oh, let's go to the Gustafsson fight. He beats Gustafsson. I'm sorry that we have to move at this pace. He beats Gustafsson, and he says this was the lowest point of his career and everything like that. Do you believe that point, that he was just partying too much, or do you think Gustafsson gave him all he could handle and he's just blaming it on the drugs?
See, that's another one of like his pats on his back that he had to say about himself, like, oh, even that was my worst fight, and that was the closest person who could have beaten me, but that was when I was at my state of when I was partying the most, and that's when I was
gassed out in the second round.
Yeah, and I gassed out in the second round, and that's when I was partying the most in my life. And this is when I wasn't trying that hard, so that's why Gustafsson, came so close to beating me was because I didn't really take it serious, and I'm a lot better than that. And people say that, oh, what if you don't do drugs, and what if you don't drink and party and have that kind of lifestyle? How great would you be then? And he's like, well, I'll be that person. I am going to be that person. Like
Now,
he has to constantly, pat himself on the back. But you could see where there was a little bit of like realness shining through at certain points.
yeah,
Whereas like,
that's the best we could give him this one.
yeah, there are certain points where you could see, glimpses of into John Jones's life. Instead of saying bullshit that you
Uh-huh.
don't believe,
Let's
bullshit.
go to this. DC Daniel Cormier. This is the last thing. We got a minute and a half. He's going to face him soon. We believe they're speculating in April, maybe MSG, not Madison Square Garden. Yeah, Madison Square Garden in New York. First time they're going to be there. He said that UFC stripped him of the belt. He believes UFC stripped him of the belt because he wasn't ready to fight Anthony Johnson. But the whole thing was going on with the whole accident. He says DC is not the real champion. He's going to beat him. He already knows how to beat him. I mean, you got a minute, Tommy Razorstein, to go through that. And then we got one last little question at the end.
I can't explain that all in 1 minute. That's a lot of
Well,
information.
let's do first of all the stripping of the title, like 20 seconds.
Okay, I don't think he deserved to be stripped of his title. I think it should have been maybe an intern fight, an intern
Wow.
title. Okay.
In DC, Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, and DC should be having an intern, belt right now because John Jones is the best pound for pound in the world. We all know that.
Now, last thing, and I'm going to answer this first. Rehearsed or fake? I think there was a lot of parts that looked rehearsed and fake, but I think at the end of the day, I'll give it to him for trying to be as real as he possibly could. But we do see that he has a lot of problems.
Yeah, the good thing was like it was a long interview, and Ariel Helwani was able to draw it out into the very end. I mean, he took it into deep waters and like finished Jones off at the end, and you could see where Jones was starting to break under the pressure. Whereas like he did well round by round in the first 20 minutes, but at the very end, Jones couldn't hang, and he started to see glimpses of the real Jones coming out.
I did. Tommy Razorstein back on Into the Arena with the Don Juan Banks. Thanks everybody very much. See you soon.